Welcome to Medic by Day, where we're talking about angiotensin II. Angiotensin II is a powerhouse of a hormone. It knows its job and is obsessed with getting it done. Contemporary society encourages a culture of complacency and self-pity. By the end of this essay, not only will you have an intimate understanding of this hormone, but you might be inspired by it in your daily life. Angiotensin II's job is to maintain harmony by raising the blood pressure in your body. It's so obsessed with this task that it has multiple ways of achieving it. As we progress, we'll see that angiotensin II was not necessarily born to do great things. It had to go through a few transformations along the way in order to prepare itself. Finally, angiotensin II is driven to the point of being dangerous when left unchecked. It can be so threatening, in fact, that an entire suite of medication drug classes was created just to keep it in line. Contemporary society encourages a culture of complacency. All around us are distractions designed to satiate the mind. We have video games, we have sports, we have gossip columns and fast food. What a time to be alive. We also have dreams of reaching a milestone or having a profession that others regard highly. But we're so easily distracted by an abundance of absurdities that we procrastinate. The anxiety that comes with possible failure as we try to become productive members of society is real. So much so that some of us would rather do something, anything, other than to get started. Imagine being like angiotensin II then. All it knows is its goal, and nothing had better get in the way. Angiotensin II's goal is to achieve a physiological state in the human body by elevating the blood pressure. This usually happens when the blood pressure is severely low. A gunshot wound where blood is surging out of your body can do this, or the lack of fluid through dehydration can decrease overall pressure. Think of it like a water balloon. The more water a balloon has, the springier it is, the firmer it is, the more pressure it has. Release some water from that balloon and suddenly it isn't as tight. It's a little more flaccid. The pressure has decreased. Low blood pressure affects the entire body, not just the heart. In fact, the kidneys have something to say about it. They rely on a healthy blood pressure to move fluid and solutes through its tubules so that we may excrete it as urine. In fact, 25% of the heart's cardiac output goes directly to the kidneys. To protect this investment, the kidneys initiate a system designed to increase blood pressure to the entire body through the use of angiotensin II. But it starts this cascade of events by secreting a hormone called renin. Renin travels all the way to the liver, where it stimulates the release of angiotensin, one of the earliest stages of angiotensin II. And it's all the way asleep. Renin then lacerates angiotensin into pieces. One of those pieces becomes angiotensin I. Angiotensin I is aroused enough to travel to the lungs. Here, it seeks out angiotensin converting enzyme. This enzyme further lacerates angiotensin I into pieces, and this time the beast has finally awoken. Angiotensin II has arrived. Angiotensin II is so unwavering in its job that it has multiple ways of achieving success. As an example, once angiotensin II hits the bloodstream, it constricts nearby blood vessels. When the space of an area tightens, the pressure inside of that area increases. This is great as a response mechanism to low blood pressure because the bloodstream goes to all major organs and systems in the body. Where the bloodstream goes, so does angiotensin II. This trait alone is enough to make it an effective elevator of blood pressure. But we called angiotensin II a powerhouse, and I don't take words lightly. In addition to this, when angiotensin II travels to the adrenal gland, it triggers a secondary ability, the release of aldosterone. This is important because aldosterone is responsible for sodium retention in the kidneys. In sodium's place, more potassium gets excreted instead. That's a Faustian bargain because it'll lead to a decrease in the potassium level. At least the cost is worth getting our blood pressure normal again from its low state. Water is infatuated with sodium. So if sodium is not getting excreted by the kidneys, then neither is water. More water floating around in the body increases fluid volume. Remember the water balloon? This is another way that angiotensin II increases blood pressure. Can you imagine that? As the blood vessels are constricting, the fluid volume is increasing, thus leading to a vault in the blood pressure powerhouse. Angiotensin II had to change from being angiotensinogen and angiotensin I before becoming great. We can imagine the process being a painful one, having parts of yourself cleaved before becoming your most productive self. I often wonder if there were traits of myself that needed to be hacked off years ago before becoming the man I am today. My procrastination needed to be removed. My aversion to leadership roles in the workplace, my ambivalence toward the future. Now, I attack the future. We don't have to be born into greatness. In fact, that's what makes greatness what it is. The adversity, the grind, the laceration. It's not an easy process, but we can be just like angiotensin II, if that's what we want. Just keep in mind that angiotensin II is also dangerous. Angiotensin II is so potent that a collection of drug classes was made just to keep it from doing its job too well. Angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, angiotensin II receptor blockers, and the combination class of angiotensin receptor / neprilysin inhibitors are all designed to stop angiotensin II in some way, shape, or fashion. Angiotensin II is so consistent in its pursuit of doing its job that it can become dangerous. It doesn't know anything else. We just talked about how aldosterone, triggered by angiotensin II, retains sodium in the kidneys, but it also excretes more potassium than usual to make up for that. Now, do we think angiotensin II cares about the body having less potassium than it usually has? No. What if the body's potassium dropped to dangerous levels? Angiotensin II wouldn't even blink. This is dangerous. But I have to admit, being this dangerous sounds incredible. Being so focused that an entire suite of medication classes must be created to slow you down. I can't imagine the feeling. Being successful means being like angiotensin II. It's an introspective affair. It's driven by obsession and to the point of danger. It's about identifying your purpose. Angiotensin II is a hormone that's fantastic at raising the blood pressure to normal. The physiological state can always be applied to our own lives. The human body is so exciting. Who wouldn't want to be like angiotensin II? I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for joining me. Hopefully, you came away with a better understanding of what angiotensin II does and why it's awesome. Please feel free to share your thoughts. I'd like to think that we have the most respectful community here because at the end of the day, we're all obsessed with being better in general. Have a great day.